Yeah, so we're really excited to be hosting this event. My name is Brenda, and I am part of the Lecturio team, and I'll be the host for today's event, Best Study Techniques for Healthcare Students. Lecturio is your all-in-one study platform to support your medical and nursing students. So we have different materials. We have concise and high-yield video lectures for both medical and nursing schools. So if you're also prepping for a board examination like the USMLE Step 1 or Step 2, or even the NCLEX, our question bank that now features an AI tutor that will help you get to the answers. And we also have quiz questions. We also have quizzes at the end of each lesson. We have concept pages, cheat sheets, the book matcher. So definitely a lot of resources for you to ace medical or nursing school. And also, if you really want to give it a try to our platform, I'm going to share that, right now we have a back to school deal where you can have 40% off on all plans and certificates. So this deal is only, runs until September 1st. So we have now two different types of plans. We have the basic and the premium. So in case you want to support your lessons with videos and study materials, definitely give it a try to the basic. But if you're prepping for USMLE or NCLEX, I really recommend to have a premium account. So today I'm joined by our dear speaker, Ojuade Olaitan. She's a medical graduate from Dnipro Medical Academy with a strong background in clinical practice and public health advocacy. She's also the founder of Olaskoko Mother and Child Foundation, an initiative dedicated to improve community health through outreach programs. And after successfully passed her USMLE, she's currently pursuing residency in the US. So really honored to have you here, Ojuade. So could you please join us on stage?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome everyone. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you guys. So let's get right into the business of today, right? So today, what's the agenda for today? Today, we're speaking about the best study techniques for healthcare students. And this is not just for medical students, this is also for nursing students. Or if you're also about to get into medical school or nursing school, this is also for you, yes? So what's our main focus for today? For today, we're focusing on three things. The first one is time management and how to set yourself up for success. And the second is active learning, how to optimize how you study. And finally, we're also going to speak about some tools that can help you to succeed in medical or nursing school. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, all right. So firstly, we're going to speak about time management. I think this is one of the most important things that you need to know how to do in medical school. Yes, you need to be able to manage your time. Okay, so let's see, what are we speaking about regarding time management? We're going to speak about how to set up some SMART goals to help you stay focused and organized. And then we're also going to speak about how to apply the Eisenhower decision matrix. And finally, how we create efficient to-do lists and setting very realistic deadlines. Okay? All right. Now let's get right into it. So time management, what does it mean? Time management. Yes, this is an intentional act. Yes, you're intentionally organizing your schedule. Yes, so it's an intentional organization process that provides individuals with a structure. Yes, so it's about having a structure that allows you to complete your task while also having the flexibility to adjust depending on the circumstances, depending on changing conditions. Okay, all right. Now, what are some practical tips for healthcare students? The very first one is to plan ahead. Yes, so I fully recommend having a to-do list for all the tasks that you want to do. Plan this to-do list the day before. Yes, and for me, it works like magic. If I don't plan my day, I'm just restless the whole day. I don't know what to do. I'm thinking, should I do this now? Should I not do this? But when I plan my day the day before, I know what to do. I know what time to wake up. I know what time to take a break. I know what time to start reading. everything is well organized and planned. So I recommend planning your day the night before. Secondly, you need to prioritize the task from most important to least important. This is really important. Maybe, let's say, for example, you have an exam tomorrow. I think the most important thing would be reading for the exam. Yes, the exact exam that you have. Not, okay, if you study for anatomy every day, you probably wouldn't read for anatomy on this day, but read for your exam. So it's very important to prioritize your task from the most important to the least important. And number three, you need to start with the most difficult or important task first. And if you can, I highly recommend starting early. I really think one of the best hacks to succeed, not just in medical school, but also in life, is starting your day early. And you would realize 24 hours is more than enough. You know, when I was in medical school, it always felt like, um, oh my God, I need to read this. I need to read this. I have 24 hours. It's not enough. We need to have at least 30 hours so I can do this. But when I started planning and organizing my time, I realized, you know what, 24 hours is more than enough. Usually I'm done with my task even before 10 p.m. on the same day. So I highly recommend, if you wake up very late, maybe, just maybe, start waking up earlier than you usually would. Okay. And finally, number four, put a roughly estimated time for each task or to do. This keeps you in check. I personally do this. So for example, my day is like, wake up at 5:30 a.m. I know it's crazy, but that's my schedule. Wake up at 5:30. I take a shower. I have to take a shower before I start my day. And sometimes, depending on the day, I have my devotions. I go to the gym. Devotions is from 6 to 7. Gym is from 7 to 8. So it's very important to put an estimated time. Your body just adapts to this time. It's like my body knows at 5:30, it doesn't matter. At 5:30, I am up for the day. So it's very important to put a time in your schedule. And number five is to reduce or avoid screen time until all tasks are done. I know this can be very difficult, especially because, with our generation, after time we're always on our phones, right? But I think if you really have a goal and you want to achieve this goal, it's very important that you limit your screen time. So you can, I personally reward myself, you see? So if I have, let's say, 5 or 6 things to do, I start my day the night before. I log out from all my social media platforms, from my Instagram, my Snapchat, my TikTok. So when I wake up, I'm not waking up to a message, a notification, or anything. I'm waking up, starting my day, right? And when I complete at least most of the tasks or most important tasks on my list, I have a break. So during this break, I can check my phone, catch up with my friends, see what's going on, and then go back right back into my schedule. So I would highly recommend this to reduce or avoid screen time. Best thing to do is probably log out from some of your accounts or most of your accounts the night before. So you don't wake up and the first thing you pick up is your phone, because this also would determine how you would start your day. If you get a message like, oh, I need you to do this, I need to help me with this, and now your whole day is starting off wrongly, in a sense. And number six is to limit multitasking. Focus on one lecture, one material at a time. This is very important. In my first, second, third year, I struggled with anatomy a lot. I used to use a lot of materials. I'm not even kidding. I would read this book, read this book, read this book, and it just felt like a lot. So I would recommend focusing on one lecture, find a material that works for you and just stick to it. Don't go around looking for several materials. Just stick to the one that works for you. All right, let's move on. And also, guys, don't forget, if you have some questions, be sure to write your questions in the chat. All right, now let's speak about SMART goals. Yes, so we need to set SMART goals. This helps you to manage your priorities better, and it also helps you to see how much time you would need for each goal. And this is very important. We use SMART goals everywhere. It's not just in medicine, other spheres as well. They also use SMART goals. Now let's see, how do you use this as a healthcare student? So let's see how to apply SMART goals. So first of all, what does SMART mean? Maybe there's someone here you've never heard, SMART goals. What does it mean? What is this? So the S stands for specific. Yes, you need to have a specific goal. Like, what am I doing tomorrow? What's my main goal for tomorrow? So for example, the main goal for tomorrow could be start and finish 50 microbiology flashcards. Instead of saying study microbiology, because study microbiology. You can't finish the whole of microbiology in one day. So if you have a specific goal, the goal for tomorrow is to finish 50 microbiology flashcards. Now, what does M stand for? M stands for measurable. You need to be able to measure this goal. So it's important to track your goals. Yes. So for example, the goal is to start and finish 50 microbiology flashcards. Yes. Now let's review microbiology MCQ and get at least 75%, which is a pass. So now you can measure the goal like, okay, I got 75%. I'm good to go. Yes, I'm doing great. I got 60%. Oh, maybe I need to spend some more time on this. And now, A, what does the A stand for? It stands for achievable. So let your goals be achievable. Don't set goals to read the whole of microbiology textbook in one day. I think it's not possible, actually, except you have some, I don't know, superpowers or something. Yeah. So instead, you need to break it into chapters or topics. So let's say, for example, today you want to cover bacteria. Yes. Gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria. That's the goal for the day. Don't say, oh, I'm reading bacteria, fungi, parasite, everything in one day. Okay. And what does the R stand for? It stands for relevant. Your goal has to be relevant. It has to align with something. So let's say, for example, your goal could be, pass your exam or pass your test for the next day. Or it could be, a bigger goal, maybe USMLE exams, NCLEX or OSCEs. So it's very important that your goal is relevant. It has to align with something. And finally, the T in SMART goal stands for time bound. This is very crucial. I already spoke about it earlier, but ensure that you put a time for each of your tasks. So, for example, do 40 board questions at 7 p.m. Now, of course, it's different for everyone. Maybe for some people, 40 questions, but I mean, if it's time bound, it means you have 1 hour to finish this. So let's say do 40 board questions at 7 p.m. If you start at exactly 7 p.m., you should finish at 8 p.m. Yes. And then you can review from, let's say, 8 p.m. till 10 p.m., for example. So there has to be a time. Put a time. It's very, very important. All right, let's move on. Okay. All right. What is the second one? Now we need to prioritize things. Yes. So in this case, we're using the Eisenhower decision matrix. Yes. So how do we prioritize things? So according to the Eisenhower decision matrix, we need to have urgent tasks. Yes. Not so urgent tasks. We need to also delegate this task and also delete. So it's do, decide, delegate, and delete. Yes. So we have urgent tasks. The first is urgent plus important. It means you need to do this immediately. So urgent plus important, you need to do it now. Yes. Now, when we have not urgent, but it's still important, you need to decide, okay, this is not very urgent. Yes. Okay. Let's say I have an exam in 2 weeks. It's not very urgent right now, but it's very important, right? So in this case, you need to decide, schedule a time. Okay. I will start my reading on this day. Yeah. And then the third one is urgent but not important. So this task is urgent, but it's not important. In this case, you can delegate, like who can help you, who can do this for you. And it's very important, have people who can help you do things too, who you can delegate your task to as well. And then finally, if we have a task that is not urgent and it's not important, you can delete it. You can eliminate this. Okay, maybe I'll do this, I don't know, some other time. It's not urgent, it's not important. I don't have to waste my time doing this. So this helps you to prioritize things. So why would this be very useful? Yes, this takes away the stress of high workload, and it also helps you to prioritize, okay, this is important, this is not important. And you don't have to stress about things that are not important and things that are important, or things that are urgent and things that are not urgent in this case. And also it helps you to reduce distractions and anxiety in facing your to-do list. And I think one of the biggest problems for a lot of healthcare students is anxiety, especially when we have exams. I know it's the worst, honestly. I know the feeling. You see, so it's very important that we use this matrix because it will help us to also reduce distractions and also anxiety in the long run. Okay. And then it also pushes you to collaborate with other people and delegate tasks to your coworkers and also to your friends. That's why we have coworkers and also friends. Yes. Let's delegate. Okay. Emmanuel says he's not hearing. Can everyone else hear me? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So Emmanuel, please check your sound. I think it's from you then. All right. And also it helps us to prioritize. So we finish the most important things first. Okay. And also focus on quadrant number 2, which is not urgent but important. Because let's say, for example, you're a medical student or a nursing student, and in your third year, you plan to write your USMLE step 1, or you plan to write NCLEX, right? At the moment, this is not urgent. Yes, this particular exam is not urgent because let's say you're just starting medical school, you're in your first year. So this is not urgent for you. But this NCLEX exam is very important. The USMLE exam is very important. The PLAB exam is very important. Yes, so focus on this and decide, schedule a time to start reading for such exams. Okay, so focus on this second aspect, deciding, schedule a time to do it. Okay, all right, now let's move on. So now, hack number 3, efficient to-do list and realistic deadlines. Now, again, it's very important that you keep your to-do list short and achievable. At least 3 to 4, 5 tasks daily. So don't write a long list of all the things that you want to do in a day, knowing fully well that you cannot do all of this in one day. It's unrealistic. Don't do it. Okay, so keep your to-do list short and achievable. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And remember the Eisenhower matrix. Decide, okay, this is important, this is not important, this is important, this is urgent, this is not urgent. Now, divide your to-do list into categories. As medical student, you need to have, I believe you should have other goals. No, not other goals. You should have other hobbies outside medical school. Okay? Don't focus on just being a medical student where you don't make friends, because these connections are really important in the future. You should have friends, you should have hobbies, you should have other things that you do outside of medical school. Either going to the gym, going out with friends maybe once a month, having some, I don't know, groups in your school. This is very important. So divide into categories. Okay, study group. So while I was in medical school, I handled other projects outside medical school, and I obviously had to also assign time for this project as well. So it's very important that you also have some goals outside of medical school. So divided: clinical, study, personal goals, social goals, fitness goals. Have all of this. Okay, again, use the Eisenhower matrix with SMART goals for prioritization. We already spoke about it. So do the most urgent ones first. And then again, I'm going to repeat this again: time estimation. Yes, if you think a topic would take 45 minutes, schedule at least 1 hour and 15 minutes in case you need to spend more time or you get exhausted mid task. So I'm the kind of person, when I have some to-do list, it's timed. Yes, and I try to work with that time. I don't know, you can call me like a mini perfectionist. Yeah, I don't play. So it's like, let's say I have to do this at this time, do this at this time, but sometimes something can come up. Maybe my mom gives me a call and now I'm spending 15 minutes on this phone call, and you see, this can also be a problem. Yes, so it's very important that you have time estimation. Estimate, at least give yourself 15 minutes extra in some cases. Okay, I see Noah has a question. Yes, how can I manage between college and USMLE, because both are important? Yes, but it also depends. Again, we can try to, oh, okay, we can try to apply this Eisenhower matrix in this case. College is very important, yes, but USMLE is also important, yes. But I think the question for you would be, when do you plan to write this exam? Yes, so let's say you're in college right now and you plan to write the exam in 2 years. I think you can start playing around with USMLE. Yes, it's it's not urgent at the moment because you plan to write it in 2 years, but it's important. So I think you can start playing around with some questions, trying to get familiar, getting all the information that you would need regarding this exam while also studying. And I think if you're in college, most of all the things that you would study or learn is what you would apply into USMLE. So I think you can balance this by just using the Eisenhower matrix. Like, okay, this is not urgent right now, but it's important. So you're working towards it. You're playing around. Like when you have time, you can play around with some questions in Lecturio. Like, oh, USMLE, okay, I understand this. Okay, I don't understand it. Especially if you've done some of the subjects in school. So I hope this helped you and this answered your question, Noah. All right. Okay. So let's move on. Next one. Uh-huh. Also, figure out your energy level. This is very important. Are you most active during the day or at night? So back in medical school, I used to say I can't read during the day. I don't know. Do we have anyone like this? It's very difficult for you to read during the day. Like you're a ninth. Oh, you like to read in the night. So this was me in medical school. During the day, I'm not very active. Yes, especially when it comes to reading, because I'm going for lectures, going for classes, going for clinicals. I'm exhausted. Yes, and I don't play about my nap, by the way. So for me, once I get home during the day, I'm taking a nap. I know a nap is supposed to be 30 minutes, but sometimes mine lingers up to like 2 hours. And then in the night, I'm like, whoo, let's go. Let's do this, So I'm ready to do this. So back in medical school, I couldn't read during the day. I don't know. I would wait until, let's say, 8 or 9 p.m. and then I'd start my day. Like, it's like a new day for me. Like, okay, let's do this. But right now, I think I'm just like, my schedule is really tight. So I'm like, oh, okay, I can read during the day. I can read at night. It really doesn't matter. But back in medical school, I was really strict. It's like, no way, only in the night. I'm sure we have people like this as well. Yeah, Manuel and Zed can relate. All right, nice. So we also need to set micro deadlines. Yeah, so you need to set daily goals instead of one main goal for the week. It makes it less overwhelming when you have like daily goals than when you have, one big goal for the whole week. Okay. Now, weekly review. So, especially for students planning for NCLEX or USMLE, I think it's important to have a particular day, or even if you're just a student, yes, not even prepping for exams, but just a student, you should have a particular day where you can review all that you've learned the whole week, preferably the weekend. So, back in my third year, in my university, in your third year, you have to write this important exam. So my friends and I, we would have like this fun sleepover on Friday night. It's like Friday night. And then on Saturday, we'd wake up in the morning and just start reviewing everything that we learned the whole week, asking questions. This really helped us back in medical school. So I think it's important that you have a weekly review as well. Now, again, you have to account for clinical uncertainty. So if you're in your fourth year of medical school or your clinical years of medical school, clinical practice can take or might take longer than expected. Sometimes unexpected things could also come up and it could take you off track. But remember, that's also okay too. Don't be so hard on yourself. Remember that you can always pick yourself back up regardless. So let's say, for example, I used to be so burnt out about this back in medical school. Because let's say, for example, the plan was to finish my lectures at 2 p.m. Yes. And now the teacher and someone wants to, there's always that medical student who always has a question after every lecture. Like, oh, yes, teacher, can you explain this again? Oh, yes, teacher, can you tell us more about this? And now the class is meant to end at 2 p.m., but it's lingering to 2:30. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I should be home at 2:45. Why are we here? So this is also really important. Okay. All right. And next. Okay. Next, active learning. So let's speak about, okay, but first let's look at Shukrat's question. So Shukrat said, do you have any tips or technique to help in anatomy? I'm not gonna lie. Anatomy was my least favorite. I really didn't like anatomy. But I think, first of all, and I think for me, I think it was just my foundation. Like the first year when I had anatomy, I had a really strict teacher and it was too much, she was too much. So I think the first thing that you need to do is try to like the subject. Because if you don't like the subject, it doesn't matter. You can use all the books, use everything. It's just going to be going, yeah, and then coming out, yeah. Yeah. So the first thing is to try to at least fall in love with the subject. Another thing that I would recommend is find a material that works for you. There are a lot of videos on YouTube with anatomy that can help you, especially like in the beginning, like trying to know, like, what bone this is. So find a video or a platform that works for you. I would suggest Lecturio. I remember I used Lecturio also for my anatomy in my first and in my second year. So you can also use this. And I would also highly recommend that if you have someone in your college or in your school who is really good, like this person really knows anatomy, you can go to them, and if this person is kind enough, you can ask the person to, explain some things to you, guide you, and this would also really help. I don't know. This is all I can tell you, but I think find what works for you with anatomy. You need to find a material or a platform that works for you with anatomy and just stick with it. And also be consistent. That's also very important, especially with anatomy. Be very consistent. So I hope this helped you, Shukrat. Yeah. All right. So let's move on. Active learning. How do we optimize how we study? So let's see. Now, we have a to-do list, like I said. So look at this to-do list, guys. Clean the house, study for cardiology exam, research, start a project. You see? Now, what is a better way to write your to-do list? Look at this. Better to-do list. For example, clean the kitchen. Very specific. It's a specific goal. You know what you're doing. Yes? Now, do literature review and write background research paper. You see, this is really different from this. Just research. What are you researching? You don't know. And then you spend at least 20 minutes trying to think, oh, what do I have to do today? What research is this? But when you have a specific goal, you know what you want to do literature review and write background of research paper. Very specific. And then finally, study heart failure and arrhythmias. So this is also really important. Okay? All right. And let's move on. Now, let's speak about active learning techniques. The first one is using spaced practice and retrieval practice to reinforce key concepts. So this is Qbank. We'll speak about Qbank. And then it's also the second one, how to interleave topics and apply to clinical subjects. And then finally, we would also speak about strategies for reducing distractions and creating a productive study environment, Pomodoro technique. Okay? All right. And also, guys, if you don't mind, I would really like to know what year you are in medical school. So if you don't mind, you can write what year, how many years you have left to graduate. I would really appreciate that. All right, so let's speak about spaced and retrieval practice. Yes? How do we apply these techniques in our study? The first one, review lecture notes within 24 hours, and then 3 days, and then a week, and then a month, depending on how well you understand it. So this is very important. I did this while I was in medical school in my second year. So review your lecture notes. Like once the teacher gives you the lecture, go home, go over this lecture again, and see if you understand it. And then let's say 3 days after, you can review this lecture again. And then 1 week, and then maybe in a month. But also it depends. If it's something that you really know and you really understand, maybe you don't need to do 24 hours, 3 days, a week. You can just do the day of the lecture, 1 week after, and then a month after. And this works. Okay, so it's important to review lecture notes. Congratulations, Carmen. All right, and then after studying, close your notes. Try to jot down everything you remember to see what you remember and what you might have missed. This is very important. Yes, like I know everyone has different ways that they study, but this helps me personally. So when I study, I like to see what do I really know about this topic. Yes. So I close my notes. I try to repeat. I act like there's someone in my room. Hi, hey. And you know the great thing, now we have a lot of AI tools. You can actually speak to someone about everything about the topic and you would get a response. We're coming into that when we speak about some smart tools that you can use. All right. And next, you can use a Lecturio Qbank questions for each topic length. Don't wait until your exam period. So in my first and in my second year, I used Lecturio Qbank, especially for my anatomy. Again, remember, I'm not very good with anatomy. So I would go back and then, it's okay, this is what they're asking me. Okay, this is what they're telling me. Don't wait until last minute. I never understand medical students who try to cover a whole textbook in one night. It's like, how do you do it? But I mean, whatever rocks your boat, but still, it's just better to, space everything. It's really important. Next, use Lecturio flashcards daily to remember and keep it fresh, always in your memory. So you can use flashcards, yes? So if you don't know something, you can create a flashcard to help you remember. And then, I mean, if you're seeing it every day, at some point, it would definitely stick. And finally, try to teach someone else the topic. If you can do this effectively, then you've certainly mastered it. I love teaching. I'll be frank. I love teaching. While I was in high school, I used to teach my friends chemistry, biology. I loved this subject. And somehow it makes me, when you teach someone something, right? It just makes you really good at this. I mean, if you can teach someone, you must be really good at this thing for you to teach someone, So I think it's very important that you, teach someone else or tell someone else this information. That way you're certain that you've really mastered the topic. All right, let's move on. Now, Qbanks. How can you maximize your Qbanks effectively? So I see a lot of students, first year, third year, second year, different years. And yeah, Carmen, congratulations. You're in the final year. Joy, you're very close. Amazing, amazing. Really nice. Allison, second year of nursing. Wonderful. Anora, welcome, 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 welcome. And Miriam, good one. You completed first year. Very good. All right. So I would like to know, do you currently use a Qbank in your medical school? Yes, because medical school and nursing school, I believe you also need Qbanks. Yes. So tell me in the chat, do you use a Qbank? Let's know in the chat. So Qbanks are very important in medical and nursing school. Yes. And the first thing, and how do you use this Qbanks? You need to do it every day. It's a ritual. You have to do it every single day. It's a ritual. Do it daily. It could be 10 questions a day, 20 questions a day, and then 20 to 40, depending on your strength of the subject. So, for example, like I said, I'm not really good when it comes to, when I was in school, I wasn't really good with anatomy. So I used to do at least 30 questions in a day. But you can start small, maybe 10 questions in a day, then, 20 questions. You see? So this is really important. Do it every day. It's a ritual. It should be on your to-do list. Do Lecturio Qbank. Yes, do my Qbank. It's very important. Yeah, Zad. Flashcard is also great. It's also great. Also, oh, okay, Joyce, will you briefly explain what a Qbank is? Okay. All right. Okay, we will come to that. All right. And number two, don't just rush to get it right. Yeah. So when you're doing a Qbank question, don't be in a hurry to just, oh yeah, I got the answer next. I got the answer next. Be sure that you fully understand the concept and spend time reviewing your mistakes. I am certain we've all done this in medical school where, you have some questions and then you have A, B, C, D, and you're thinking, okay, the answer is D. But then there's also something telling you the answer is C. No, the answer is D. No, the answer is C. And then you pick D and it's correct and you're like, yeah, I got it. And then you move on to the next one. But did you really understand the concept? Did you really know the answer, or you just, played on your luck and then you got it right? So spend time, don't rush, review your mistakes. This is very important. And next one, try to do it timed to prepare you for main exams and build your confidence. So if you have a long-term goal of writing USMLE exam, writing PLAB, writing NCLEX, you need to mentally prepare yourself to do this exam in a timed mode. So try to do it timed. It keeps you on track. And I think also in school, in medical school, we had timed exams. Also, it's like if you were using CBT, for example, you had to finish at a particular time. So try to do this Qbanks, try to do it timed. Okay. Next, focus on your weak areas. Do more questions from the ones that you don't really like. Okay, so I didn't really like anatomy, so I spent more time doing a lot of questions on anatomy. Okay, all right, let's move on. Okay, now retrieval practice application. How does it look like in real life? So if you have Lecturio already, you already know what this looks like. So you see, now you have, this is what it looks like. So you have the explanation, and then can you see? 1 second, just, yeah, okay. So let's see. The track that starts at this, you can see, and then this shows you how sure you are about the question. You see, so it's like, oh, not really sure. So 50-50 and very sure. And this way, you keep doing it and it would stick at some point. Okay? All right, next one. Now, interleaving. How do we do this? This is very important. Yes, interleaving. This might seem very overwhelming in the beginning, but as you proceed in your medical and nursing school, you understand that every subject is connected in one way or the other. And I think the beauty of medicine is the fact that I always say, I have been privileged to do rotations in England, in the States, in my country, in Nigeria. And one thing is for sure, medicine is the same because it's still one body you're working with. Yeah, so anatomy in the US wouldn't be different from anatomy in, let's say, Kenya, for example. It's still going to be the same because it's still the same body, right? So it's best to familiarize yourself with rotating subjects and topics early in medical or nursing school. So how can you do this? Rotate the subjects. Yeah, so for example, instead of doing 4 hours of anatomy, you could do 2 hours of anatomy, 1 hour of physiology, and 1 hour of pathology. I think everyone has probably started anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology at this point in medical school. Now, next, you can also apply this. So if you study about COPD in pathophysiology, you could review the pharmacological drugs used in COPD and maybe even the histopathology of the lungs. You see, so it's all connected. So if you start with the anatomy, you can go to the histology, then physiology, then pathophysiology, and then pharmacology. And you're getting somewhere. You know almost everything about this topic now. Okay, so let's look at this patient, for example. And yeah, I see a question from Desmond. How could I marry theoretical knowledge with practical skills to be an effective and efficient healthcare provider? I know it's a bit difficult to answer everybody, but mine is a little bit very important. Okay, main character energy, I see. All right. How can you do this to be effective and efficient as a what year are you in right now, Desmond? I think that also matters, and also theoretical knowledge. But you know, the thing with theoretical knowledge is everything that you learn in the book, when you start clinical practice, you tend to understand more. So when you start your clinical practice, it just everything clicks. I don't know if that works for you, but for me, in my first, second, third year, it just felt like, yeah, I see. That's why this one. I don't know if your school is like 6 years like mine, or maybe 4 years if you're in the States. But I think when you start your clinical practice, you would see all of this. Like, it would make sense. The theoretical knowledge would make sense because now you're applying everything that you've learned in the real life. It's like real medicine now. It's not just what you see in the book. You see? I don't know if I helped answer this question, but I think the best would be when you start clinical years. It would all make sense. Yeah. All right. So let's continue. So let's say, for example, we have a 60-year-old man with 40-year smoking history, and he comes with Western cough, shortness of breath for 4 days. Now, you see, we can go to the pathophysiology. This person has exposure to smoke, airway inflammation. Go to the anatomy. What can we learn in this? Oh, it can relate to emphysema. It can relate to chronic bronchitis. We go to the physiology. Now, VQ mismatch, hypoxemia. Go to pharmacology. What can we use to treat this? How do we treat this? Bronchodilators, antibiotics, yeah? And now for nursing, I think for nursing it's a bit different. But still, you also need to learn clinical care. Like, oh, we need to administer oxygen to this patient. We need to position this patient in tripod position. How do we administer bronchodilators via nebulizer? So for nursing student, you can also apply this as well. So connect all the topics. Yes, it's very important. Interleave all the topics. And then now you know everything. So when you get to your 40th, 30th, 50th, when you see COPD, you're thinking, oh, I know the pharmacology, I know the pathophysiology, I know the physiology. So it's much easier this way. Okay? All right, and let's move on. Now, reduce distractions. This is very important. Yes, so you need to create a very productive study environment, and you need to try to reduce distractions while you learn. Yes, so this, we can try the Pomodoro technique. So for example, you study in focus intervals. So 25 minutes, after 25 minutes, you can take a 5-minute break. And then after 4 Pomodoros, you can take a longer break, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. So what is the main goal of this? It's to help us improve our focus, reduce procrastination, and definitely to prevent student burnout. Okay, so this is really important. Try to reduce distractions as much as possible. All right, and now let's speak about the tools for success. Yes, you need to study with, you have to have a tool for studying. It's very important. You can't go through medical school just relying only on your lectures and your teachers. This wouldn't work. No way, it wouldn't work. All right, so let's see. What are some tools that we have on Lecturio that can really help you? So we have something called the AI assistant. This is your personal study companion. This is, this is really nice. I'll show you. So look, this, for example, if you're thinking about a topic and you want to get a quick summary of this topic and you don't know about this topic, just go to your Lecturio. You see your AI assistant right here, and boom, you just type, tell me about, I don't know, COPD. I don't know why I keep mentioning COPD. I think I just like the topic, I guess. So yeah, just type it in. COPD, and it will tell you everything you need to know about this. So this tool is very effective. All you have to do is type the topic of focus, and it will give you all the information about this topic, plus direct you to video lessons and resources within Lecturio, where you can even read more and in depth about this topic. So this is it's a very, very good tool. It's like having ChatGPT, but in the same application. You don't need to close the application, then go to ChatGPT. You see, just immediately, just type it in, and you have it. Simple, easy peasy. All right, so you see, the AI assistant just tell me about COPD. We'll tell you everything you need to know, and also give you some links, some resources to read more about this. And it can also tell you more about this as well. Okay? All right, next. You see, so look, it would also share some resources. And if you want more detailed information, you see, so if you say, tell me about COPD, it just gives you a brief summary, so you have an idea, right? But if you want to know this in depth, you can ask for more detailed information. And this AI assistant on Lecturio will give you this immediately. It's basically ChatGPT in Lecturio. Nice. Next, we also have AI tutor. This gives you orientation. So this is found in the Qbank. So the AI tutor can give you hints in the study mode. Of course, in your real life exams, you wouldn't have hints. Yeah, you have to know. If you don't know, that's it. But this helps you because, see, we have study mode and exam mode. So when it's exam mode, of course, you wouldn't get hints. But in study mode, if you're trying to practice, you would get some hints and it would tell you. So let's look at the next one. So look, for example, we have a question, yes? So you can ask AI tutor for some hints and it will give you the hints. And with the hint, you know, oh, this is it. This is the answer. You don't need to think so much. So this is a very, very useful tool as well. It's a very good one. A very good one. All right. And this tool, AI tutor, and also the AI assistant is available for both the medical students and nursing students on Lecturio. So you can use it for the nurses, for medical students. It's available for you. Now, we have a very, very nice platform, especially for students in their clinical years. Yes, where are my clinical students? Are you guys here? Yes. So for the clinical students, we have some tools to give you real clinical practice scenario. Yes. So let's say this is called the Nejem Healer, right? It's called Healer. It's a game changer indeed. But this is only available for premium medical students, not for nursing. So it's only for medical, not for nursing, and also for those with premium. So see, you go to Healer. So this helps you, yes, to practice, especially for clinical students. Yes, Zad, this is going to help you big time in your clinical practice. Trust me, it would definitely help you. So you see, now you can practice. But in this case, you don't actually have an actual patient, but it's like having an actual patient. When you see an actual patient, you know how to deal with this patient. Okay, so you can start the case with guidance, so it can help you, or start the case without guidance. So without guidance, it means you're really solid. Do we have the final year student here? So in this case, you can do it without guidance and just see, okay, how good am I? But if you're just starting in your clinical years, I would suggest that you start the case with guidance. Okay. So look, now you click. It's like triage, basically. Yes. So we click a patient, Nicholas Perez. What is his chief concern today? It's abdominal pain. Yes, it gives you all the information you need to know about this patient, his location, what time, his sex, who, all of this. It also, so now we have the chief concern. What brings you here today? My stomach hurts. When did it start? So you get to pick, look, check off findings that are important to your differential. So you get to pick, okay, this is important, this is important, this is important. Okay, and then it moves on to history of the patient. Yes, it gives you the history of the patient, and then physical exam. So they give you some information as well. And then you also get to, based on your hypothesis. So you are obviously thinking about something. Yes, abdominal pain. We can think about so many diseases. Yes, but based on this, you get to select relevant organ systems for this patient. And then you select it. And then you get to have a diagnosis, and you write a diagnosis. And at the end of the day, you get a result. Yes. So the expert would say, oh, 73% correct. You did great. You're really good. You know what you're doing. And they would also give you what the accurate diagnosis is. So this is very, very, and also you get to do a management plan, treatment plan for this patient. So I believe when you actually see patients in the hospital, you already, it's like, oh, I remember Mr. Nicholas from Kila. I know what to do. I know what to say. I know what questions to ask. Okay. So this is a very important tool, especially for students in clinical years. I highly recommend, highly recommend. Okay. All right. And so we've come to the end of this session, yes, and it's been a very interactive one. I hope you're able to learn a couple of things, and this was really useful for you. And I would like to know, which study technique did you find most useful? So we spoke about time management, we spoke about active learning, we spoke about Lecturio smart tools. Which study technique did you find most useful? Please vote in the poll, and let's see which you found most useful. So I hope this was very useful for you, and you were able to learn a couple of things, understand a couple of things, and yeah. All right. So I will pass it over to Brenda now, and she will take it up from here. All right. Thank you so much.
Hi again. Thank you so much, Ojwada, for this intervention. I mean, I really hope that students find this very useful. So thank you, everyone. I see that many of you find the active learning the most useful technique. So yeah, I really hope that you keep practicing these techniques in your everyday study sessions. Yeah, so before we move on to the Q&A session, I mean, in general, several questions were answered during the intervention. But just to remind you that, well, you can keep learning with Lecturio for your medical and nursing studies. So then again, we have high-yield videos, we have clinical cases, the Qbank, the question bank, practice questions, concept pages for medical, and also cheat sheets for nursing students. So, and also to remind you that we have our back to school deal. So in case you want to have your medical membership or your nursing membership at 40% off on both plans, this deal runs until September 1st. And also to remind you that the healer, the one that Ojwada explained, it's only available for medical in the premium memberships, right? Yeah, then again, give it a try. You have 7-day free trial at the beginning, so you can access all features and all content. And yeah, so also something interesting before we finish, before we close, I just want to share some interesting materials with you. So we spoke about the free cheat sheets. So these are for nursing, these are one-pagers. And yeah, so they have really nice integration with videos from the platform, and also with images, charts, and tables. And so if you even have a free account, you can also access them for free. And for medical students, we have the medical school survival guide. So I also saw that some of you are in your first years, or even if you are doing rotations or applying for the USMLE, applying, well, for residency after the USMLE. We have several study hacks there. We have insights from experts and different strategies to excel your interviews and applications. So yeah, you find the survivor guide in the handouts section. So you can click on download, and it's a PDF where you can save it. Yeah. So those are the resources that we have for you. Then again, give it a try to Lecturio if you're new to it. If you have the free account, definitely recommend to upgrade during this back to school to have 40% off on all plans and ECTS certificates. Right? So yeah, so we have some questions. I see a question, is USMLE prep paid? Yes. So if we're prepping for a board examinations like USMLE Step 1 or Step 2, or for nursing students for the NCLEX, these should be premium accounts. If you are you want to supply your classes, for example, you were at the classroom and you didn't really get the concept that the professor was explaining, I'll definitely suggest to have the basic plans. But if you're prepping, you can access Qbank questions in the premium plans. So I saw an interesting question earlier. There were a lot of questions about like theoretical and practical. How can you handle both? Or maybe even, so you also gave some tips about how to study anatomy, but maybe you have any other tips for other topics like pharmacology.
Oh, okay. Sorry. For pharmacology, I think everyone, it's individual for everyone. You know, like what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. For pharmacology, I had a really nice textbook that I used in my third year. Pharmacology is one of my favorite. Like you can ask me about a drug off the top of my head, and I would, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses for sure. But pharmacology, I don't know. I guess I just like the name of the drugs. Like once I see it, and it just helps, especially with like drug names that have the same names. You just know, okay, lorazepam, diazepam, yeah, same group, something like this. But I think for pharmacology, find a textbook that's direct and straightforward. Yes, not a lot of like important drugs, because there are a lot of drugs that you might never even hear about in medical, in like real practice. So get a material that works, okay? And also, I want to know how to study pharmacology and remember the drug names. Um, I actually can't remember the name of the textbook that I used right now, but I remember I had this textbook and it was really good because it just focuses on, the main things that you need and not other things. But honestly, right now, I can't remember the name of the textbook. And I think for a lot of my friends, what did they use? Honestly, I don't remember, but I remember I had a really good textbook. And the thing about pharmacology is the more you move up in medical school, the more you get more familiar with the drugs because they'll keep mentioning it. And when you start clinical practice, you get really familiar with it. So if you're in your first year or just second year, I think don't stress so much about it. Just focus on your lectures, some flashcards. This would be really good. And yeah, Dr. Ina, thank you for the recommendation as well.
All right. There was also a question about some tips for writing USMLE. Maybe you have some very
We
practical
had
ones.
a we had a one session like this about this. I think like a couple of months ago about tip for USMLE. For USMLE, oh man, you really it's it's not the easiest exam. I'd put it that way. It takes a lot of strength, determination, consistency for this exam. So I think one of the most important tip is tell yourself, like when you're ready, you're ready. Like, okay, I have to do this exam and I have to pass. I would say find two or three materials that work for you and stick with them. Don't bombard yourself with lots of materials, lots of Qbank. Just find the right Qbank for you and focus on this Qbank. Of course, the Bible, we say the Bible for USMLE step one, use this as well and focus on this. And I think you would, and of course, if you're in medical school, please take your first to third year really seriously, especially for step one. You need pharmacology, you need microbiology, you need biochemistry. So focus on this. I think the most important would be don't bombard yourself with too many materials. Be consistent and really dedicated, and also trust in yourself. Okay, a lot of people they read a lot, they get it right, but then they just forget and they don't believe in themselves. And then yeah, so trust in yourself and believe that you can definitely ace the exam. Okay. Um, it depends. It depends. It's individual. For some people, they need 1 year. For some people, 9 months. I was working when I was planning for USMLE step one, so I needed more time. I spent roughly 12 to 14 months, if I'm not mistaken, no, 9 to, yeah. So it depends on your schedule. If you have a child, for example, if you go to school every day, for example. But I mean, if you have 6 months to yourself. I have a friend who had 6 months doing nothing. Not, I wouldn't say nothing, but 6 months with no other commitment in this case. So he had 6 months reading every day for 12 hours and he wrote the exam in 6 months. So it really depends on you. Mm, also, register when you think you're ready for the exam. Also, please don't write the exam if you're not ready for the exam. Don't waste money, please. Okay? Clinical and USMLE, I have to write it next year. I need to do CBS for my school to clear me. Again, I would suggest, hi Yinka. I think with the name, I'm certain you're from Nigeria. So welcome. And I think um I don't know what kind of person you are, but I would say you have to be really dedicated. And also you have to wake up early because you probably shouldn't sleep 8 hours if you want to pass your USMLE and also manage clinicals. So you have to, if you have a lot of commitment, try to reduce them. So your focus is only on, the urgent and important one, clinicals and USMLE. Remember what we spoke about today. So I think you can apply some of the techniques that we mentioned today to manage your clinicals and your USMLE. and also be very time conscious. Yes, don't take a lot of commitment. Don't spend time doing other things. Focus on urgent and most important. Do it now. All right. Okay.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that that's a wrap for us. So if you have any question about the platform or about the events, you can always reach us at events@lecturio.com. And yeah, so follow us as well in our social media. We always have nice content for you there. And yeah, so thank you, everyone. See you in the next one
All
and
right.
take care.
Thank you,
Success.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.